This is a sample engagement letter, and any tax pro should have their client sign this as soon as possible, certainly before any work begins. And any taxpayer hiring a tax pro should ask to see this engagement letter as soon as possible, because a good engagement letter is going to have pricing on it, as you see here. Now, this is the engagement letter that I use at my firm, and when I first needed one, I asked several tax pros for copies of theirs. None of those were a perfect fit, so I kind of created this using different elements of those and also some elements from AICPA standards. So this is kind of an amalgamation of what I like best from different engagement letters. And I will link to this on my website. You can download it. I'll have a Word format on there so you can edit it and put in your own information or change it as you see fit. But one of the elements that I emphasize on my tax engagement letter is pricing, and I'll show you why. So of course this has the basic stuff in it: firm name, tax year. Sometimes I put in multiple tax years if I'm doing some catch-up filings for a client. And it has the standard engagement letter verbiage on it about disclosure errors, irregularities, basically the integrity of the information that you're given by a taxpayer and how it's their responsibility to verify the information prior to giving it to you. And so some kind of liability mitigators on here. And then also it has this section here that says if there's additional services, that leaves it as an open door. And I have a different engagement letter for both bookkeeping and for tax planning / consulting. But this is what I use just for the filing. And it says, hey, there may be other services. Then it gets down to fees. And we talk about how we have a flat fee schedule for different types of tax filings. Then I go down here and I have the minimum fees, and I put in this verbiage on here: minimum fees that may increase depending on complexity, because we all know that we get clients that downplay the complexity of their needs or their tax scenario, and then when they show up and it's a much more comprehensive or time consuming tax need, then of course you can charge more. So that's why I have minimum here, to leave it open. Subject to the levels of complexity, and I put in my now of course pricing is very personal for all different tax firms, and I see on the Tax Pro forums that everyone's always comparing, and it varies. High cost living areas to lower cost of living areas have different levels of pricing. This is what mine is right now for what I'm going to be doing going into the coming tax season. And then I have a full list of fees. Now, the reason I have this here, and I thought of putting a box around this, but I want to draw attention to it because many times I get phone calls at my tax firm and people are asking about, they're asking tax questions. Hey, I have this going on. Can you help? And I mean, most of the time, yes, we can do it. But I always tell people our pricing up front, because for some people it's a disqualifier. And if someone is going to haggle about the price or get concerned about it, or I might present them a bill that's going to shock them, I don't want to do that. I don't want to put a client in an uncomfortable situation because they had no idea that I charged twice as much as their last person, or that I'm way more expensive than using a cheap online do-it-yourself tax service. So I think that there should be a huge emphasis on presenting your pricing with a client so that you don't engage someone that's going to freak out or not pay your bill. So it's better to be transparent up front. That's why I have this emphasis here. And of course, electronic communication, and I put what we use for our secure sharing platform for sensitive financial documents. Electronic filing, ending the engagement, important. Sometimes you want to get rid of a client. Gosh, sometimes that comes up. And then, of course, the client signs. That's it, 2-page. Now, you can download this, use it at your own discretion for your own needs, and it's in an editable Word format. Links in the description to download it from the website, and I hope you found this helpful. Thank you for watching.